All good?
I'm good, Madhuri.
Good.
हाँ,
ॐ
This
अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. नमा
नमो
ॐ विष्णुपादाय
विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले
रूपरे
श्रीमते
श्रीमते
भक्तिवेदान्त
भक्तिवेदान्त
स्वामिनिति
स्वामीति
नामिने.
नामिने
नमस्ते
नमस्ते
सरस्वते
सरस्वती
देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा
विशेषा
शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे. जय
जय
श्री
श्री
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
चैतन्य
चैतन्य
प्रभु
प्रभु
नित्यानंद
नित्यानन्द
श्री
श्री
अद्वैत
अद्वैत
गदाधर
गदाधर
श्रीवासादि
श्रीवासादि
गौरभक्तवृंद.
गौरभक्तवृन्द
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्णा
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
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 हरे हरे
हरे
हरे
हरे
राम राम
राम राम
राम हरे
हरे हरे
हरे.
हरे हरे
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा
पीता
सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो
पितृभ्यो
नमो
नमो
नमः.
नमः. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so auspicious beginnings of the new year.
Oh,
We are
are you
starting.
coming, Madhuri? Titan?
Yeah.
Oh,
So we are starting with the first verse of first chapter. Such a beautiful beginning, or ending of the year too.
oh. Yeah.
So we will recite every time in honor of Srimad Bhagavatam, and time to time we will recite the prayers of Sanatan Goswami as well. They are very beautiful prayers, and I would like to actually recite those today.
Sorry, Madhuri, I actually late today. Madhuri, I do chanting and
No problem, no problem, it's okay. Okay, so let's chant these prayers. Very beautiful prayers by Srila Sanatan Goswami. सर्वशास्त्राब्धिपीयूषा सर्ववेदैकसत्फला सर्वसिद्धान्तरत्नाद्या सर्वलोकैकदृक्प्रदा सर्वभागवता प्राणा श्रीमद्भागवता प्रभो कलिध्वान्तोदितादित्य श्रीकृष्णा परिवर्तिता परमानन्दपाठाय प्रेमवर्षीयक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोऽस्तु मे. मदेकबन्धो मत्सङ्गिन् मद्गुरो मन्महाधना मन्निष्टारकमद्भाग्या मदानन्दा नमोऽस्तु ते. असाधु साधु तादायीन् अतिनीचोचताकरा हनामुञ्चा कदाचिन्मां प्रेमहृत्कण्ठयो स्फुरा. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all the Vedic scriptures, you are the most prominent of all the Veda, most prominent and transcendental fruit of the Vedas, and are enriched with the jewels of all philosophical conclusions. You grant spiritual vision to all people of the world and are very life breath of the Vaishnava devotees. O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. Actually, you are Lord Krishna who has returned among us. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. By your recitation, one attains transcendental bliss because your syllables shower down pure love of God. You are to be served by everyone, always, for you are an incarnation of Lord Krishna. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, companion, and teacher, O my great wealth and deliverer, O my good fortune and bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O uplifter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Accompanied by pure love of Krishna, please manifest yourself in my heart and throat. So beautiful prayers by Sanatan Goswami. So we will start with the small shloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. So, just quickly read the translation of this verse as well because it's a very important verse before we begin reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Narayanam Namaskrityam. So, before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Naranarayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasdev, the author. So we are respectfully bowing down before them, seeking their blessings to, very respectfully continue, humbly and respectfully continue on this journey because it might seem like a daunting task to be able to complete reading of all the 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, but by Guru and Krishna's blessings, anything is possible. So, now we will continue, and whoever is able or available or wanting to read, please feel free to raise your hand. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya yato anmayaditarataschartheshvabhigya swarat tene brahmaradhaya adikavaye मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो अमृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudev, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So this verse is said by Srila Vyasadeva. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance and destruction of the manifested universes. So you will find here 7 glorifications have been done by Vyasadeva. So first is this. Krishna, he is meditating upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and primeval cause of all causes of creation, sustenance means maintenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. Second, he is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, means he is also conscious about our psychological activities, also what we are thinking. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him means Swarat. So you will see all these word to word translations here. Abhigya means fully cognizant, means he knows everything. Okay, then he is Swarat, fully independent, right? So he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji. So it comes Tene Brahmarada, Tene Brahmaradaya Adi Kavaye, unto the original created being. So this is fourth number. He imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water. So mirage, we all have experience of mirage, right? So that is an illusion. Although when we go closer to the mirage, it is a simple like the road, right? But because of some sun and how the earth is interacting with each other, that's how we see some optical illusion there. So this is what Krishna does. I mean, he can place us into illusion also. So this is another glorification of Krishna. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. So because of this illusion, because whatever Krishna has created illusion, so because of him only these material universe appear to be fact, although it's unreal or very temporary as compared to the spiritual world. It's just like a dot in the whole creation. But how important we make it, right? Our families and our life, our career, our goals, we make it very, very important. But from Krishna's perspective, this whole material world is just like a very tiny, small entity. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusory representation of the material world. So there is no illusion in the transcendental world. In this world, we want real relationships, right? If anybody is speaking or blaspheming or speaking bad about us at our back, we feel very hurt, right? And we don't want to have relationship with that person. So we want real relationship, real acknowledgement, real recognition, real love, real friendship, everything real. But what is real in this material world, right? Everybody, no exceptions, everybody wants to, look about their own growth and progress. Of course, there is love between mother and the child, but when the child grows up, they are on their own. They want to look at their own lives and careers. So, I mean, love could be there, but it's not that impelling love that gopis had for Krishna, that they would leave everything to, just see one smile on Krishna's face. That kind of love cannot be seen in this world. So, therefore, the spiritual world is without illusion, unlike material world. So, therefore, Vyasdev is now meditating upon Krishna, who is the absolute truth. So please try to remember all this, that he is the cause of all causes of creation, maintenance and destruction. He is conscious of all manifestation. He is independent because there is no cause beyond him. He is first who imparted Vedic knowledge unto heart of Brahmaji, and we are placed into illusion. The demigods, great sages also placed into illusion by Krishna, and because of him material universes feel real, and in his he is always existing in his transcendental abode, which is always free from illusion. So these are all the glories of Krishna, which no one else can have other than God. These are all very powerful statements, and therefore Vyasdev is meditating upon Krishna. Satyam param dhimahi. Okay, so this is the last word here. I am truth, the absolute truth, and Vyasdev is meditating upon. So dhimahi word comes into Gayatri mantra also. So therefore, Prabhupada will comment on this, that Vyasadeva is actually invoking Gayatri toward the end, and we will see why. Okay, so let's read the purport. Obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Vasudeva directly indicate Lord Sri Krishna, who is the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Why Prabhupada emphasizes this point a lot? Because the Mayavadis always try to bring they just say absolute truth. They don't call it Krishna, right? And so people get bewildered. So absolute truth means what? Okay, so they will say it's Brahman, right? They will say it's the effulgence or the Jyoti. But this is very bewildering statement, because Krishna is a person and he wants personal relationship with us, like how we want always a relationship, right? But in this material world, again and again, we are not satisfied in any kind of relationship, and therefore we want a permanent shelter, permanent relationship, and that only Krishna can give us. So if somebody is projecting Krishna as only energy or light, then our chance is gone for having a relationship there also. And therefore it is very detrimental to follow Mayavadi thought process. So therefore Prabhupada is always cautioning devotees about this kind of thought process, that when they call Krishna as not as a person. Okay, so therefore again and again we will see in the commentaries of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that Prabhupada establishes Krishna as the personality of Godhead. So obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Vasudeva directly indicate Lord Sri Krishna, who is the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. This fact will be more explicitly explained in the text of this work. Sri Vyasadeva asserts herein that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Now watch these words. Personality means he has a form just like us, and all others are his direct or indirect plenary portion or portions of the portions, right? So he is the original personality. So we see there is a blueprint, and then the things are made out of that blueprint. So Krishna is blue and he is blueprint, right? So he is the original personality, and from him his expansions have come, like Lord Balaram, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and all those. And then we have expanded also from like the Prajapatis and all those who are also parts and parcels of Krishna. So we are portions of the portions. I mean, we are remote portions, but we are also portions of Krishna. So we are formed in his image. Like in Christianity also it is said that man is formed in the image of God. But unfortunately they don't believe in the deity worship, or they don't believe in the form. So they don't worship the form, right? Although their philosophy says that. So therefore we are very fortunate that Prabhupada is establishing all these points for us. Srila Jiva Goswami has even more explicitly explained the subject matter in Krishna's Sandarbha. And Brahma, the original living being, has explained the subject of Sri Krishna substantially in his treatise named Brahma Samhita. In an Upanishad in the Sama Veda, it is also stated that Lord Sri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. Therefore, in this prayer, what Vyasadeva just said, that first verse, the first proposition holds that Lord Sri Krishna is the primeval Lord, means the Adi Dev, and means nobody was there before him, and he is never born, he was always there. Okay, that's why he's called as primeval Lord. And if any transcendental nomenclature is to be understood, transcendental means what? Which is beyond this material world. So in this material world, we always see a beginning and end of a person, right? But if we say Krishna has no beginning and no end, he was always there, so that has to be transcendental, beyond the conceptions and principles of this material world. Okay, so these are all these are all like sutras for us to form a very, very solid foundation, so that when we read forward, we have all these understandings in our mind about Krishna as a personality. Okay, so therefore, if any transcendental nomenclature is to be understood as belonging to absolute personality of Godhead, it must be the name indicated by the word Krishna, which means all attractive. So, what is the meaning of Krishna? All attractive. So, black color absorbs all other colors, right? Or dark blue. So, similarly, Krishna absorbs or attracts everything toward him. In Bhagavad Gita, in many places, the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead. And this is confirmed by Arjuna and also by great sages like Narada, Vyasa, and many others. Okay, so people say that, okay, who is saying that Krishna is the supreme personality? Even like Vaishnavas have doubts sometimes, even devotees have doubts. So Arjuna is saying that, okay, and not just Arjuna, but Arjuna is also saying that all other these sages are also saying that. Okay, Narada, Vyasa, Asita, Devala, all those. So many great sages. And Krishna himself is also establishing this fact. So there should be no doubt for us. And if somebody wants to continue doubting, then good luck to them, because they will take a long time to understand the fact which is already established, right? So that would be a waste of time. In the Padma Puran, it is also stated that out of innumerable names of the Lord, the name Krishna is the principal one. Vasudev indicates the plenary portion of personality of Godhead. So Vasudev means what? Who is born from Vasudev. He is Vasudev. So even Vasudev is not Krishna himself originally. He is the plenary portion of Krishna, right? So Krishna is the original personality. So one time I heard in lecture of my Guru Maharaj, it was little bit complicated and technical, but in essence he was saying that Krishna, whom Nanda Maharaj actually kept by Yashoda, he was Vasudev Krishna, but then he actually there were two Krishnas basically. So one was original Krishna, okay, and they both personalities merged in each other, and that's how actual Krishna was playing with Yashoda Maya. But to Nanda Maharaj and Devaki, Vasudev Krishna was born. So Vasudev indicates the plenary portion of the personality of Godhead, and all the different forms of the Lord being identical with Vasudev are indicated in this text. The name Vasudev particularly indicates the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by the Paramahamsas. Paramahamsas means who? Who don't have any material shelter, who have no taste in the material life. They are always meditating on Lord Sri Krishna, right? So those kind of people, they only relish Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's names, Krishna's form and qualities, right? So Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by such Paramahamsas. Means what? That how we breathe, right? So this breath is not broken even for a minute for us. 24 hours, 24 by 7, by 12, by many years, we have been breathing. So this breathing is not broken at all. And if it is broken, then we will feel suffocated. Similarly, these Paramahamsas, Krishna's meditation is like breathing for them. It's continuous, it's constant. And if they are not meditating upon Krishna, then it's like suffocating for them. They cannot live without it. So that was the position of gopis also, right? So they are the perfected ones among those in the renounced order of life. So what is our goal? Our goal, although we are all grahasthas and we cannot go into renounced order of life now, although if somebody decides and determined, they can do it. But where we have to reach, we have to constantly remember Krishna as grahasthas. So whatever we are doing, cooking or cleaning or working in the office, or whatever we are doing, going for some work in the bank, or to the market or whatever, we need to constantly keep chanting inside our heart, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that is constant remembrance of Krishna. So it will definitely take some practice, but now since we know, we should try to start practicing that. Okay, constantly chanting Krishna's holy name in our heart. Eh, we will not be able to remember this always, but whenever we remember, we should start. So by that practicing like that for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, definitely a time will we will reach where we will be constantly chanting Krishna's name, and that's what is required, just like this Paramahamsas. So Vasudeva or Lord Shri Krishna is the cause of all causes. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. How this is so is explained in later chapters of this work. This work is described by Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya as spotless. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls his Amala Puran. Amal means, mal means what? Contamination. And Amal means what? That there no contamination at all. It is spotless, squeaky clean, purity. So Mahaprabhu has described it as spotless Puran because it contains the transcendental narration of personality of Godhead. So see, here is a solid reason. It describes the transcendental activities of personality of Godhead. So it has to be pure. It is pure because it is talking about Krishna. It will not have any contamination into it. So when we feel negativity, very frequently we feel negativity, right? Negative thoughts come in the mind. So that happens due to contamination because our soul is pure, right? We just read it, we are the portions of Krishna, we are part and parcels of Krishna. So how can we be impure and how can we be covered by the negative thoughts? Why it happens? Because our soul is getting covered with the material nature where it is not used to of living. Just like fish is not used to of living out of the water, similarly our soul is not used to of the material world. So it has to get covered first. Otherwise, in pure state, it's very hard for soul to live in this material world. It is constantly remembering Krishna. It cannot leave Krishna's service. So since we are covered, we get these negative emotions. So since Bhagavat is purest, so whenever we feel negativity, we should always approach Bhagavatam and read at least one paragraph. You will see immediately the change in consciousness. Bhagavatam is that pure, right? So we should always remember that Bhagavatam is the literal presentation of Krishna, means like in the form of book, right? So Mahaprabhu has called it a spotless Puran because it narrates the transcendental activities of personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The history of Srimad Bhagavatam is also very glorious. It was compiled by Sri Vyasdev after he had attained maturity in transcendental knowledge. So, yeah, Vyasdev also attained complete maturity, and that time he wrote. He wrote this under the instruction of Sri Naradji, his spiritual master. Vyasdev compiled all Vedic literatures containing the 4 divisions of Vedas and the Vedanta Sutras or Brahma Sutras, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and so on. But nevertheless, he was not satisfied. Now think about this. Vyasdev has written all these Vedas, Vedanta Sutra, Purana, Mahabharata. Nobody can write all these without realization, right? But still he was not satisfied. So where we are, right? So we have to more sincerely chant. So his dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narada advised him to write on the transcendental activities of Lord Sri Krishna. See, I just said, because I'm hearing this from my mentor, that whenever negative feelings are coming, you are feeling morose or depressed or anything, or dissatisfaction is covering our heart, then we should always go toward the transcendental activities of Lord Sri Krishna. So Narada advised him to write about the transcendental activities of Krishna, and for us we can go and read and write also about our realization, our experiences. It is very absorbing, it is very calming and very peaceful. Only we should pray for some time every day to write about it. We don't get time because we are so much running. So we should make it a point that we are writing every day. These transcendental activities are described specifically in the 10th canto of this work, but in order to reach to the very substance, we must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories. So, there is so much explanation of personality of Godhead as the Supreme Lord. He's the Lord of all the gods. So we should be able to understand his original position first, okay, which is called as tattva of the Krishna, or the substance of Krishna, that what actually is his position. And then when we go to the 10th canto and when we see humanly activities of Krishna, then we are able to take that in proper perspective. If we directly read the humanly activities of Krishna, then what might happen is we will take it very cheaply. We will not understand the actual position of Krishna. And in India, many people do like that. They always like go to the 10th canto because they say that we like reading Leelas of Krishna, right? But Prabhupada has strictly warned us that we should gradually approach until the 9th canto, and then only we should go to the 10th canto when we have developed sufficient respect for Krishna as the personality of Godhead. Then only we should read about his humanly childhood activities, okay, because he did all the pastimes with gopis and Radharani until he was only 12 years old, right? But still people make so many dirty things out of all those transcendental activities of Krishna. They talk anything about those activities, but what a 12-year-old boy can do, right? These were actually transcendental activities. They were not worldly, material or physical activities what Krishna was doing. So therefore we need to have the proper knowledge of position of Krishna first. We should have proper reverence and respect about Krishna first, and then only we should read. Although Prabhupada was so merciful that even though he gave this instruction that don't read the 10th canto, but he wrote Krishna book because he knew that he won't stay until that long, and he wanted to give purport for the 10th canto so that people don't misunderstand. Particularly he was preaching in Western world, right? So they might have many questions reading Krishna's human-like pastimes. So Prabhupada gave Krishna book already, and he didn't stop anyone from reading that Krishna book. So Vaishnavas are very, very merciful. Even though they will say some instruction, but still they will be very merciful to, open the transcendental door of, Krishna's mercy to get into all those pastimes. So, but we will try to go to that level very gradually, and let's see how long we can sustain this. Okay, so last few minutes. These transcendental activities are described specifically in the 10th canto of this work, but in order to reach to the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories. It is natural that a philosophical mind wants to know about the origin of the creation. At night, he sees the stars in the sky and he naturally speculates about their inhabitants. Like small kids ask, right? Why is it shining? From where it is coming? So like that, inquiries. Such inquiries are natural for man because man has a developed consciousness which is higher than that of animals. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a direct answer to such inquiries. He says that Lord Shri Krishna is the origin of all creations. He is not only the creator of the universe but the destroyer as well. The manifested cosmic nature is created at a certain period by the will of Lord. It is maintained for some time and then it is annihilated by his will. Therefore, the supreme will is behind all cosmic activities. Of course, there are atheists of various categories who do not believe in a creator, but that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Like if you will think deeply, then once I witnessed a snowflake. Actually, it was falling on my black color coat, and there were few snowflakes, and I really observed that their formation was so beautiful, and their shapes were different and such intricate design, but it melted so quickly. So who can do that? I mean, it can never happen by accident. We cannot believe that. The flowers of different colors and shapes and fragrances, this cannot happen by Big Bang. This cannot happen by something colliding with something. No, this is not possible. This is actually well thought. Everything is properly thought and planned. Nothing is accidental in this world. So, this is due to poor fund of knowledge that people don't believe in a creator. The modern scientist, for example, has created space satellites, and by some arrangement or other, these satellites are thrown into outer space to fly for some time at the control of scientist who is far away. Similarly, all the universes with innumerable stars and planets are controlled by the intelligence of personality of Godhead. So here Prabhupada is making a point that if scientists can do such a big task of having a satellite thrown into the atmosphere to get the recordings and everything, then of course the intelligence to them is given by God, right? So what God can do, he can do much much better and bigger and unbelievable and unthinkable things, so this is a must for us to establish the position of Krishna because people take Krishna's position very cheaply and it is not in their own benefit. Why? Because they are refraining themselves from a real shelter. So we don't want to do that. We are in shelter of Srila Prabhupada, who has always placed Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sorry, I took a little longer today because I wanted to cover as much as possible and explain also. So we will stop here. So there is less than a minute, so probably we will not be able to share today. But please share your reflections in the group maybe or next time. Okay? So we will stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.